Hello, welcome back to Becca's Book Nook. Today I'm going to be doing 25 bookish facts about me. This is just basically going to be a fun, quick little video to help you guys get to know me a little bit better, and so without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into the facts. I have loved reading for as long as I can remember, probably before grade 3, but I remember in grade 3 I was put in the advanced reading section, so while others were reading, I guess, books at a lower level, I got to read Magic Treehouse series, which I guess is the series that really first got me into reading, and I fell in love with that series before advancing on to heavier and bigger books. I do not use a bookmark while I'm reading. I just tend to remember the page I'm on, and I have recently been using Goodreads, so I'll mark what page number I'm on that app, but most of the time I can't just remember what page number I am on. I do actually like to listen to music while I read. I know some people find that distracting, but I actually really enjoy it, and I like sort of making a playlist for the specific book that I'm listening to. Recently, I have been going to a bunch of different thrift stores around me and trying to find books there rather than spending all my money at Indigo or my other local bookstores. I find that I spend a lot less money this way, and you never know what you're gonna find. I've been trying to get a lot of hardcover copies of the softcover books I already have, and they end up being anywhere from like $1 to $5, so it's a lot cheaper than buying the hardcovers at an actual store. I have actually never read Mockingjay. I know that that makes me sort of like a fake fan of the Hunger Games series, but when I was reading it back in like the 4th or 5th grade, I just remember trying to get into Mockingjay and finding the whole book just super political, and I really couldn't even force myself to get into it, so I just didn't. I just put it down and never finished it, and I actually just watched the movies for the first time a couple months ago. My main point there is that I basically could have gone the rest of my life without knowing that Finnick and Annie had a baby together that he never got to raise. My favorite series of all time is the Harry Potter series. Of course, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that before. I've read the series 5 times in total, and I do have every intention of rereading it again. I love getting re-immersed into the story and discovering new things in the plot that I have not noticed in the previous times. My favorite Harry Potter book has always been Half-Blood Prince, but Prisoner of Azkaban is a very close second. Despite that fact that I'm a major Harry Potter fan, I actually did watch all the movies before reading the books. I think I started reading the first one when I watched the Deathly Hallows Part 1. This fact haunts me daily. I feel like a fake fan all the time, but then I realized that I still know everything about the series regardless. I still read the books, and I still am able to love the series just as much. So I never judge someone if they have just seen the movies or if they watched the movies before they read the books, because I did the same thing, and I still consider myself to be a massive fan of the series. My favorite genre is definitely YA fantasy. I feel like it could change to adult fantasy as I grow up, but I do love YA fantasy still, even though I'm 20. Going along with that last fact, my least favorite genre is definitely horror. I've never been a big fan of scary things, so the idea of reading horror books just absolutely terrifies me, especially because you can go into a lot more detail in books, and I feel like reading the words scares me more than like watching a movie where I just have to see the image. I am just recently getting into contemporary romance and rom-com books recently, as I've mentioned in several videos previously to this one. I am absolutely loving them, and it could be coming up close to my YA fantasy books, so I'm really loving them, and I'm so excited to explore the genre further. I will not buy the next book in a series if the cover is different. If the cover art changes halfway through the series, nothing pisses me off more than that. Like, I genuinely don't think I would be able to buy the rest of the books, so yeah. Going along with that, I really don't enjoy having a series if half of them is paperback and the other half is hardcover. I have quite a few of those right now. Like, I know my Mortal Instruments series, all of them were paperback except for City of Heavenly Fire, so that was one of the cases where I went to the thrift store and I bought all the rest of the series in hardcover so that it looked better on my shelves. I do enjoy both series and standalone books, but on a personal note, I do prefer series to standalones because I just like watching the story evolve, and I love getting introduced to more characters until we have like a bigger cast in the second end of the series. I just feel like I have a better experience with longer series than just one book, though I do love both. I like to count out the number of pages that are in a chapter before I read it. I'm not sure why. It just like, I feel like personally it helps the chapter go by faster or something. I don't know why I do it, to be honest. It's just something I've always done. And then I can like check halfway through if I like get out of my reading track. I can like check what page I'm on and see how many pages are left or something. I'm not really sure why I do it. It's just something I've always done. I personally do not enjoy listening to audiobooks because it makes me feel like I'm not paying proper attention to the story or that I'm missing elements. I did just recently listen to 2 of the From Blood and Ash books on audiobook form, and I liked it just because I was able to listen to it at work and I could spend more time reading than I could have if I didn't listen to it at work. But I feel like I still had to rewind the story a few times to make sure I completely understood things that were happening. I pretty much always have a book with me on a car ride or when I'm going just literally anywhere. You never know when you're gonna have time to read or when you're just gonna be bored and need something to do. So I literally always have a book with me, especially on long car rides, just because I can get more reading done, you never know. Cassandra Clare is probably my favorite author at the moment, and she probably has been since like 2013 when I started reading her books. At this point, I'll pretty much read anything she writes. I've read all of her books, I think at least twice, except for Chain of Iron, which just came out in March. But yeah, honestly, as soon as I hear she's coming out with something new, I count down the days until it comes out. Some of my favorite books of all time are in her series, and as well as characters. I think at the moment, off the top of my head, my favorite book of all time is probably Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. Makes me cry every time I read it. I constantly crave the story, and I just love all the characters and everything that happens in that book. I would say on average I read at least 4 books a month. I feel like if I don't read that many, I feel like I wasn't successful in that month. I like to read like at least 1 book a week, or else I feel like I didn't do the month properly. Obviously, I aim to read more than that, but 4 months is pretty much my standard reading goal for every month of the year. Though I did read all of Sarah J. Maas's books last summer, I skipped over Tower of Dawn because I hate Cale Westfall, but this right now, actually, I am forcing myself to read it, but I did totally skip over it because I felt like I didn't care about his story, sort of regretting not reading it before Kingdom of Ash because you just find out so many important elements. But last summer, I could not get over my grudge that I held against him, and I just couldn't even get myself to read it. I make my mom read almost every single book I've read. Ever since I read like Percy Jackson and Harry Potter, she read all of those. Then she read Heroes of Olympus, Divergent, Hunger Games, all Cassie Clare's book, all Sarah J. Maas's books, all of Leigh Bardugo's books. She's just basically read almost every single series I've ever read, and I love her for it because then we can talk about it. And yeah, she is just awesome. She reads everything I give her, no questions asked, so she's the best. I am currently studying English in school because of my love for books. I've gotten to read quite a few classics so far, but unfortunately with COVID, I haven't been able to read as many books as I would have liked to through my English degree. We've mostly been doing like online stuff with like short stories, so I'm hoping this year, now that we're back in person, I'm able to actually read some more novels, hopefully some more Jane Austen, and yeah, I've been really enjoying my time with this degree. I did try to get into the Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafi, but I literally could not get past like chapter 2 of the first book. I basically just picked it up so long ago because of how gorgeous the cover was, and I tried to get into it and I just couldn't, so I've never tried again. I'm pretty sure I even got rid of my copy, and I don't think I'll ever try to get back into it, despite the fact that I've heard some good things. Yeah, I've nothing against Tahara Mafi, of course. I'm sure she's a wonderful writer. I just personally couldn't get into it. And finally, as a lover of books, I do hope to eventually write my own book someday, or several. I've started about 1 million. I can just never actually get into it and take the time to sit down and write it. I just always have something going on in my life that just makes me too busy to do it. But I am really hoping to eventually have time to just sit down and get through a book and hopefully have it published. That's my dream, but we'll see. Alright everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. Just a short little sweet one. I hope you learned something new about me, and if you can relate to anything I said in this video, comment down below. I'd also love to hear some bookish facts about you, so feel free to comment those as well. If you would like to follow me elsewhere, my socials are linked in the description, and I would love to have you guys on any of my other socials. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. I do post videos every Wednesday. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!